Here we have with us Zachary Steeg on 360 Art Drops with a Z podcast, where all small businesses are encouraged. And here we have with us Zach Steeg, who is the owner and of the art and music of Euclidean Rhythms. So, would you like to share with us your background?
Yeah, so I've kind of always been a creative person. Um, kind of as far back as I remember. And it's taken a long time to kind of be comfortable with that, and it's I guess it started, with trumpet in the sixth grade, and then maybe guitar in freshman year of high school, and then digital production in my early 20s, um, and then piano, which MIDI kind of is the same thing in a way,
Yeah.
and music theory um, throughout my 20s. And then it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I got more into like visual art, graphic design, painting, and then recently now digital art, and designing t-shirts and the things. This actually isn't mine, this is a friend of mine's, but yeah, like, it's nice. And so the background is really just, I mean, yeah, there's the musical inspirations and styles and practicing that everybody's gone through, but like I think for me the background was a lot of figuring out who I am as a person and what I'm trying to do, and I think that's been more important than any like lesson I've learned, is like feeling like I am a person who is creative by nature, and then figuring out how to open up those flows and letting that creativity come through. And so that's just kind of the story of me and my art and where I've got to right now. I mean, how about you? Like, how did you get to making this podcast?
So first of all, it's so welcome to the artist and music community. It's so glad to have you.
Thank you.
Um, um, yeah, so I started this podcast last year, and it's been really fun, exciting, and it keeps my sanity going for keeping being a part of this community, being able to do something for it that I'm not so bad at. And I feel like I'm getting to know people that I never got to know before, and I don't even know if I actually was going to the artist events if I would have even met you, because this is just an interesting way to meet people and get to know them and their artist background, and what their all their challenges and their um all their progress that they've
Yeah,
made in their life.
and you also mentioned it like it helped you feel connected, like when COVID happened and you were back in India and like you were kind of feeling disconnected from the community, and that this was a way for you to like kind of reconnect like globally, and I thought that was really neat. So
Yeah, actually, I started this after the COVID thing because I was in a hospital during the COVID. For Actually, it was a horrible hospital. I would never recommend it to anyone. So if anyone wants, if they are in India and they want to get cheap mental health care, I have some ideas for you guys. I would definitely not recommend this one place that I went to for a whole year. My parents kind of stuck me in there, and I was just like, I couldn't get out because I had to have their permission. That's how it works over here. Um, and they were like upset that I was smoking cigarettes. So I was like, okay, whatever. I had to just go through it because I was like, over here, the only people I have are my family, and like, or in the US, if that would have happened, I could have so easily just gone to a friend's house or restarted or whatever. But it's okay because I'm on the positive track, and I'm on the same level with my parents. They're finally starting to understand that not everything is my fault. So yeah, this has been pretty tough. feeling very lonely, isolated. So this was a really, really good way to like push myself to out of that horrible rut place, to become positive and see myself and what I've been through in a positive light. And move myself further. Like right this year, is gonna be a really good year for us, and me also. And I'm just gonna keep on going with what I'm doing, and slow and steady. You know how they say slow and steady wins the race. So just keep on going. I mean, whatever it is, just one, even if it's one thing. Like last month, I didn't do any podcasts, so I'm really happy that we're doing this together. And I've been an artist since I was like 20 years old. So I didn't necessarily, even though I was an artist before that, I didn't call myself an artist, to actually own it and say, you know what, actually I'm an artist
It's
professionally.
hard, right?
Yeah, that was a big step, just like how you went from trumpet to where you are now, and piano, and where you are now to actually producing music, and also painting the art for it. Like, what a big leap, you know? So now, I mean, what are the types of arts that you create? What are the challenges that you're facing now?
Yeah, so I guess a lot of the challenges I'm facing now are, well, I think most creatives, the biggest challenge we'll ever face is internal, right? Some people
Yeah,
call it the imposter syndrome, or, the feeling of not being good enough. Or for me, my art, and especially my music, has always been like my thing, right? I make it in my room by myself, for myself, as a way to just be connected with things. And so it took a long time to even just share that just in general,
yeah,
because like, if that's if like if people like say that sucks, then like they don't like me by proxy. You know what I mean? Like if
yeah,
I show you a part of myself and you're like, yeah, I don't really like it. It's like, I felt like that would hurt so much. And it has sometimes, but like, it's that finding yourself as an artist and knowing why you're creating stuff. And then it doesn't really matter what anybody feels about it, because you're doing it for you. And that's how all art and music and things should be. It should be for you. It should be because it's how you connect to the planet or God or the universe or whatever, you know? And that's how I've always felt. And I think that was my biggest hurdle was,
yeah. A lot of process is like introverted, even for me. And a lot of times people ask me to perform like live painting and stuff, and I felt like I wasn't ready. I don't know if I'll ever be ready, but like a lot of it is just like, I just so enjoy doing it by myself. If there is a friend over, that's different, but like I
I think it's
still
kind of
haven't
like,
got to that level.
yeah, but see, I think it's kind of like the way a lot of people talk about having kids. Like, you'll never be ready to have kids. You just
Yeah,
have kids one day.
yeah,
Like, it's like you're never gonna be ready to paint live in front of people, or like play a live show in front of people. You just do it, and it's scary, and you just make mistakes, and then you just move on. And nobody saw the mistakes the way you saw them, because you're your biggest critic. And you're
right.
just like, okay, this is something I just want to have fun with, right?
Yeah.
And I love it, right? And so yeah, I mean, I've been taking a little bit of a break from the music, just to kind of, I don't know, I've been doing that for like 20 years, and it's just like I kind of needed a break into some sort of other artistic, outlet. And with, people feel different ways about digital, image production.
Uh-huh.
But um it is what it is. Like, music went through this 20 years ago with Napster and people downloading stuff and all the crap, and oh my god, and now it's impossible to make money from music. And now, we have AI. And yeah, it's
Well, there you are.
oh, did
And
it stop and like start again?
yeah, basically where you stopped at the part where you were saying AI. So it's like it's a continual loop. I don't have to like put two pieces together. It's just
Oh,
continue.
okay. Yeah, and so like, I guess where I'm going out with this is like my brain, my ADHD autistic brain, and digital art, like at this point, like where I can just like, show me like, a biomechanical robot unicorn that's, in a giant field with a bunch of, snowflake people or whatever. And then not only that, but I can go deeper with it. Okay, now make the snowflake people all like have mushrooms in their hands and dancing to, and like it doesn't matter. Like my brain can just go as far deep down these rabbit holes as I want, and just like iteration after iteration. And so like at the end of that iteration where I find the thing where I'm just like, yes, okay, this is what I wanted. Like I no one else could come up with that photo, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like it's however AI created that, like it was my brain that made it do it. And so
Yeah,
like
I guess like there's a lot of people using like a lot of different programs together, and some people are against it, some people are not against it. I think it's just do what makes you happy, and like, you know, as long as you aren't like straight up like copying an image from another person, like I mean, I just
yeah,
think like people should
I mean,
use the tools that are there, and everything is a tool. And when it first comes out, it's always talked against because like everyone's like, why do you want to use this tool? It's not like, now you look at what you're doing, it's not good. It's like everything is a tool and it should be used as such. And it should not be used like to directly copy somebody, but it should be used as a tool that it's used for.
exactly. It's how you use it, right? And so everybody's like, "Oh my God, AI is so bad," but like they're out there like asking Google why they should hate AI, and it's like you just asked AI why you should hate AI. You use Grammarly to like fix your writing. You use AI all the time. AI has been around for 40 years. Now that it's making images, everybody's like, "Oh my God,"
Yeah, I saw
you
this
know?
weird thing on Insta that like they're, obviously creating these, fake people that look like real people, and they're just like they're just getting all these hits because it's like it looks like a real person, like a real girl.
And so like, we should kind of get back on track. But yeah, like if you're using somebody's likeness in a way that they don't want you to use that, then that's
Yeah,
fucked up. If you're like, you know, show me a hybrid robot giraffe unicorn and then you put that on a t-shirt and sell it, like,
yeah,
like what, there's a difference there, right? And it's just like
yeah,
tools. And so I guess where I was going with this also is like everybody's so caught up on the AI image generation that they're missing out on all of the other tools that AI is coming out with right now. In
right,
fact, like DALL-E 3 is made by OpenAI, right? Chat GPT is also made by OpenAI. But there's
right.
like maybe 15 or 16 other things that they offer that
Yeah,
are other AI sort of assistant programs that nobody really
yeah.
looks into because they're just so against DALL-E or whatever. And so like
So a lot of
I
people
feel like
are down about the jobs that are being overtaken, but now there's creation for new jobs that are available, and I think they should look into that. Like or teaching,
right. I
even
mean,
teaching like some of the new stuff that's out there. Like I don't know everything that's out there. Like I have definitely not used many tools except for Chat GPT, and like this some weird program that's not even like Midjourney. I use that
Midjourney's
for
great.
my imaging, and like I just tried it out. Was just like trying it out. First I tried out
Yeah.
Wombo.
Yeah. So like Midjourney, DALL-E 3, which is the same people who have Chat GPT, and now there's another one, I guess Bing AI has just come out with one as well. And like there's about 12 or 13 like image generation ones, but like and
Yeah.
they all do different things, you know?
Yeah, I don't
Um
got no space for all that, but
yeah,
when I get a chance, I'll definitely my phone needs to be upgraded majorly. I'm still working off the XR.
and so I guess what we're talking about is we're talking about being creative, and so like
Yeah,
it's just like tools, right? So let's talk about like sampling in music, right? There's
yeah.
always been this like argument about sampling and how can you use sampling and sampling right or sampling wrong, right? But like
What's wrong with
all of these
sampling?
people, like huge name people, are using samples, and sample use has become mainstream and is now accepted. And so like when you hear like this, nostalgic like sample of like, Blue Oyster Cult in this dubstep track, you're like, oh my God, and like it's cool because like when you sample correctly, like it's more like paying homage than it is to stealing, right? Like
Yeah.
it depends on how you do it, right?
Yeah.
And people can argue about this all they want, but I sample all the time in my track. I do a lot of sample-based production, and it's great. And so sample-based image creation or sample-based any sort of art, you're always using something as a reference, right? Like you're
Right.
always using something as some sort of reference, some sort of like idea creation fuel to get the sort of artistic juices flowing, right? And so whatever your reference is, or however you're sampling your reference in your art, it's been used time and time again. And so like I feel like now most people aren't even going to learn how to use AI, especially the image creation part of it, to actually create what I would consider art at this point. And
Right.
so, yeah, you just in all this crap everywhere about just whatever's coming out of people's heads. And it's great. Like some of it's really cool, but really like honing that down to like, an art form, like there's very few people, and I've actually found some online that are like literally creating sort of a style out of, you know, the AI art. And I think that's really what it's all about. No matter what kind of art you're creating, is it's like finding your style, finding your flow, and then expressing yourself in that sort of style through that flow, right?
Right.
In
So,
fact, I just got in my mouse pad. Check this one out. This
yeah.
is mine.
Oh,
You see that?
sweet. Nice. It kind of
Yeah. So
reminds
that
me
was
of an
like one.
Alex Gray thing.
So that was my inspiration for it, actually. you know and like it is actually very similar to that, and I'm on the fence about this one because it is a little bit too much like his art in some ways.
Yeah.
And so like, I
I probably wouldn't sell that one, but it's like a good, like, you know,
yeah, see, it kind of like I could take
progression
this and do
into
another
like trying to
iteration
figure
on
out
it.
how to get your
Yeah,
style.
so and it's funny because you picked up on it like right away, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even though like his is the godhead right in the center, and it's like kind of going off into like
Right.
to
It's the
infinity.
opposite or something.
Yeah, but you could see the inspiration for that. And so, thank you for that, because like I've been kind of on the fence about this one because I'm like, yeah, that's a little too much, like, like, so I need to do a couple more iterations on this before I can
Yeah,
like
I would
actually feel
do a
comfortable.
couple more iterations and throw some other angles in there, or like throw some other objects.
Right, exactly. So, and that's how you kind of like, or I might just like ditch that one altogether because it really was just like
Yeah, it's
straight
like
inspiration.
too much, too like close.
Too close to Alex Gray, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love Alex Gray. That's like one of my favorite artists, right? But
Yeah, I
um
remember when I first saw him, it was like 2012, and I was like standing right up close to like where he was painting, and I had a picture of him,
was
and I
this
was
at the
just like
manifestation
so
celebration
stoked.
in Dallas?
No, this was when I lived in San Francisco, and
Okay.
or no, I lived in San Jose, but I'd moved from San Francisco to San Jose, and I went up to one of the events at 10:15 where he was painting, him and his wife.
Allison, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Allison.
so I saw him that same year, actually, him and her. It was in Dallas at the manifestation celebration, and watching those two paint together, like
Yeah,
with her doing like sacred symbols and then like him doing the faces over it, it
yeah.
was just it was mind-boggling. And it actually was in the Science and Arts Museum in Dallas. So I'm like standing under like a T-Rex like skeleton, watching them paint with like Thievery Corporation playing, and it was just like,
Oh, Thievery Corporation. I love Thievery Corporation.
yeah, it was a beautiful experience. And actually him and Allison are going to be painting at Texas Eclipse here in April.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I have to wait till manifesting maybe like a trip next year. We'll see. Not to Texas, but maybe. I mean, I
Oh,
might stop by there.
there's so many better places in Texas. It just happens to be where the eclipse is this year. So like we have, the global eclipse people, like the 7 huge festivals coming to Texas to throw Texas Eclipse. And like
Oh,
I've been
wow.
telling people, for 9 months now, like, you don't understand what's about to come here. Like, buy tickets. And now the lineup has come out, like the full lineup, and everybody's just freaking out. They're just like, oh my God. And I was like, bro, I told you this. Like, Texas doesn't, you're about to have 80,000 people come to a town of 6,600.
Oh. That's
You know
crazy.
what I mean?
That's
Like
gonna be
Burn,
like real fun. So,
like yeah, Burn, Texas
when
doesn't know
you
what's about
did
to
just the,
happen.
did you used to paint and stuff?
So I do paint pouring, and I do like some other like tiny like painting type stuff, more like on top of other things. Like I don't have like a very steady hand,
Oh,
and so
okay.
like I think that's why music's always been important to me, because like I've never been able to draw or paint or
I'm
stuff.
I'm like horrible with illustrations, but I have like some really great paintings.
I'd love to see them.
Yeah. Well, they're all on Archay's, ARCH RAYZ on the they're in they're on my Facebook. I took them off my Insta because I'm trying to um participate in a competition, and I had to kind of choose a genre. So
Oh,
um but I was gonna ask you, did you do like a lot of collaborations in music and art? Like,
I've never done a collaboration in art before. I've done a couple collaborations in music. In fact, one of my only like official tracks that's actually registered on ASCAP and everything like that, was done through the producer dojo with my friend Luke Rain.
oh
And
nice.
it was actually, yeah, it was a really fun project, done by our friend Tyson, who was like choosing basically the project for that month for everybody. And the way it worked, which I'd love to do this again with someone, was we each sort of made like a half a track,
Oh,
basically. And then we switched, right? And so it was
oh,
like I made a bunch of stuff, and like it was like kind of good. He made a bunch of stuff and it was kind of good. And then we switched and we finished each other's tracks,
that's kind
basically
of
with
cool. That's a neat
that they
way
did.
of
So
doing it.
yeah, and so at the end we had two tracks that were in the same key at the same BPM with sort of the same elements, but that sounded different. And
Oh, okay.
we actually ended up going with mine at the end of it. Although his is like pretty neat too. Um, and that was one of my favorite collaborative experiences. But I love collaborations just in general because you're like when you're doing stuff by yourself, it's easy to waste time. But like when somebody else is there, like you don't want to waste their time. So both people are just kind of like on point all the time. You know what I mean? It keeps you going. But you
Yeah,
also get like other input into something, especially when you're with somebody who's like near your same level of comprehension on the subject. Like it's just getting into that flow by yourself is hard enough, but getting into that flow with someone else is just magical. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it's like the feedback and the fact that they, like you said, keep you going is like really nice. Before we get too late, I just wanted you to throw out your all your links really quick.
Oh, yeah, you can find me on Facebook, EuclideanRhythms.com. The website's EuclideanRhythms.com. You can find me on YouTube, SoundCloud, Instagram, Euclidean Rhythms. It's all just Euclidean Rhythms. I got lucky and I was able to get every social under that name about 8 years ago, and I just kind of hung on to them. Although I'm just now kind of just getting going with stuff. So, but the website EuclideanRhythms.com is officially up. I'm still working on product development, but people could officially buy things from my site at this point if they wanted to, and everything is obviously, guaranteed and whatnot, but it's not going to be officially shared for probably a couple more weeks while I figure out more like price points and get all the products done. And I still have a couple other products coming in that I want to make sure are good before I just like start
Do
sharing
the
things with.
official.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because but yeah, music, art, eventually books and blogs and whatever the hell my little autistic ADHD brain can come up with. Euclidean Rhythms, it'll be out there, So
Nice. That's great to hear. It's always nice to hear when somebody's like, okay, they're, making strides towards making their art and music official and getting out there. Um,
yeah, it's scary, but it's also a lot of fun.
yeah, I myself have to do like I used to have a website, but I have to like do a whole redo thing because I'm just most of my stuff I'm kind of rolling out through Instagram. Like I'll do like one or two pieces a day or something like that. I'm just trying to work slowly, because I've like a lot of other stuff going on. Um, I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out in art or music or anything?
Don't stop.
Yeah.
Like if you're starting in art and music, it's probably because your soul told you to, and the world will constantly tell you no. And I think whatever artistic form we find ourselves wanting to pursue,
Yeah.
um, it's normally coming up from that real just center of our being.
Yeah, that's
And
soul level.
yeah, and so don't ignore that. That's what I
Yeah,
would tell
that
them.
mental confidence is so important.
And a lot of times that comes later. The
Yeah.
confidence comes later. It's just like, and it doesn't matter like how you get started or what you do. Just do it. And if the people around you aren't supportive of that, then welcome
Work.
to being an artist. It
Sorry.
shows you who your real friends are.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that word out there, but
No, no,
um,
it's just, I mean, that's what I find hilarious is like throughout my career, I guess, or just life, just like the more I do me, like I'll see certain people start responding to that differently, and it'll show me that they aren't who I thought they were.
yeah, it
Um,
shows you who to gravitate towards or who gravitates towards you. And
right. So the
yeah,
more we are ourselves, the more we attract those that we need to be around. You know what I mean?
right.
The more we are what other people want us to be, the more we push away the people that should be around us, if that
That's
makes any
really
sense.
important. That's well said.
Yeah, and so I think by being a creative and by making art and music and stuff like that, we get back in tune with ourselves, and then therefore we start creating the life and getting the people and things around us that we've always needed. And so once again, just if you're doing that, if you're just starting out doing that, keep doing that, because I think that's one of the most important things that we can do. Being alive is creating, you know?
Yeah. Just like continuing that creator mindset and actually
Yeah,
like putting it into place physically.
it's really the best homage I feel we could pay to whatever ultimate oneness or Godhead
Yeah.
or star conscious or whatever there may be, whatever that is the creationist. Um, you know um Things are being created. I was created somehow, and I'm in the flow of life. I'm in the dharma. I'm in the universe, right? And so the best part that I could do to pay homage to that is to continue creating in a wholesome sort of sense. And to me, that's how I get in tune with things, and that's why it's so important to me.
So, is there anything else you'd like to throw out there before we end the podcast? I have about 7 minutes here, and I just wanted you to be able to speak out any other truths that you've experienced or any other experiences that were really vital or life
Yeah,
changing.
you said I have 7 minutes. I won't
Yeah,
take
because it's on Zoom, sorry.
No, I won't take all that, but I guess, if I want to summarize something real quick, with my little math brain here, um, let's see if I can do this real quick. Okay, so the electromagnetic spectrum, right? It's an oscillating perpendicular lines of electromagnetic and um, electricity, right? And that's what creates light, right? And so light actually has the electromagnetic spectrum. It has all the information in it, right? You have your sound waves, you have your visible spectrum, you have like all of the different spectrums, right? Even all the way down to the low end, you have stuff you can feel, right? Feel, sight, hearing, right? Pretty much everything but taste has like information in the electromagnetic spectrum, okay?
Uh-huh.
Now, therefore, what I'm saying is sort of light contains information. Now, in a vacuum, light travels at a constant speed of 9.8 times 10 to the ninth meters per second squared, which is called c. And Einstein said that E equals mc squared, right? And that's pretty common knowledge as far as how energy and matter are interrelated through the speed of light squared, which is a ridiculous number. And everybody thinks of c as being a constant in that equation and doesn't really, question that. Now, that makes sense, except where in the universe could light maybe change or slow down, right? Okay, black hole. Now, like as light comes to a black hole and it starts moving around and it gets beyond the event horizon, we'll never know what happens because the light can't return to us to give us the information, right? So we'll never know. But the fact that light can bend and move around a black hole, kind of like a sink, and it gets closer and closer, and then, whatever. Let's say theoretically, if anywhere light could slow down, it would be probably there. Now, let's take E equals mc squared. I promise you I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
If you take E equals mc squared, right, and you change it to E divided by c squared equals m, right?
Okay.
As c squared approaches zero, as the denominator approaches zero, as light slows down as it goes into a black hole, you have energy divided by the speed of light equals mass. But as that denominator approaches zero, that means the other side of the equation goes to infinity. So an infinitely small amount of energy in a situation where the speed of light is approaching zero creates an infinite amount of mass. Sounds like a Big Bang. So any sort of photons going down into a black hole could create another universe out the other side. And this is sort of where the universe, like the multiverse, sort of comes from in a lot of sense. Now, why I'm saying all of this is if light is the thing that changes energy and matter, and we're made of light, right? We're basically beings made of light.
Mhm.
And light is information. That means we're all made of information. That means we have all the information of the universe already inside of us. And I'd like to give you a specific example of this. Okay, in the 1980s, the physics community came out with a groundbreaking discovery, quantum physics.
Right.
Okay, they basically said that all matter is made up of tiny vibrating strings, right? String
Okay.
theory. You want to know who probably found that funny? Buddhist monks. Because 3,000 years ago, meditating in a cave, they realized Om. And Om is the vibrational sound of everything, right? In deep
Right.
states of meditation, these monks like tuned into the fact that everything makes a sound, everything is vibrations, and the grand vibration of everything makes a sound. And the closest that we could get to mimicking that was the transcendental Om, right? Now, if they knew that meditating in a cave and it took almost 3,000 years for scientists to be like, hey, we figured that out, what else lies inside of us? What other information and knowledge lies inside of us, right?
Right.
It's the answers to everything. It's the music that you want to make, it's the art you want to create, it's the things you want to know, it's the person you want to be, it's all of that. And the only thing that gets in our way is ourselves, because the external has made us believe that we are not good enough, that we are not
Yeah, all these
creative.
societal constraints that we have. And
And
like
so
we need to start saying yes to ourselves instead of saying no to ourselves.
yes.
Yeah.
And so that was, I guess, that for some reason that's how I wanted to end that, because that's sort of a quick, nerding out of how we are all divine and how we all have the answers inside of us, and how sometimes just sitting down and being quiet for a little while is what we actually need to
Yeah, like
figure out.
in Sanskrit they say aham brahmasmi, that means you are divine
Yes.
or I am divine.
How did you say it again?
Aham brahmasmi. I
Ambaramasmi?
think it means I am divine. I was
Yeah,
gonna get it tattooed, but I have to do it when I can.
yeah, I mean, I've studied lots of different just things, but I really just love the actual meaning behind the term namaste, as far as like the light in me recognizes the light in you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Basically the divinity in me recognizes the divinity in you. Um, and go back to Alex Gray, the sacred mirrors, right? We're all just
Yeah.
sacred mirrors, and what we see in others is what we need to work on ourselves, kind of like the shadow work you were talking on earlier.
Yeah,
And
I
so
love to do so much of that.
and so I feel like being a creative and like saying like you said earlier about like I am a creative and I am a creative person, it for me it's opened up that channel on how to do all that internal work, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Well,
And
I
so
just wanted to thank you so much again for being on here, and you're most welcome to come on anytime you have like any kind of updates or official releases, or if you just want to talk about anything, just let me know. I don't know
awesome.
how well versed I am. I'm not really a physics know-it-all or anything like that. So
It's
if
okay.
you want to just chit chat about whatever, or if you just want to present your views on certain things, you're most welcome. And I feel blessed